Hello, my fellow gamers. Today we take charge of a nation as we oversee its urbanization in the game 20th century. We are tasked with reducing garbage and pollution, managing our commerce and science as we compete over land and technologies, trying to enhance the standards of living as we stride towards a land where the environment is as healthy as the economy. This one is medium complexity, plays 3 to 5 with a reasonable 2-player variant out there as well. With this taking up to about 2 hours, and we have the designer of this being an earlier title of his alongside greats such as Shipyard, Woodcraft, Pulsar, 2849 to name but a few. And we have the publisher as well. Some of the mechanisms in this one include auction bidding and tile placement. Let's go and run this nation then.
Okay, we have a free player setup. I've got the Blues here and their actual region is just out of camera view. I've got a separate camera so you can see a bit of a closer up there. We've got the Reds, we've got the Yellows. Now each player has one of his player boards tracking your money and your income at the top, your science just below, and your victory points. And your starting setup is free income, 2 science, no victory points, because if we have a little look at your tile, you can see you place your sort of populace on these little towns here. And you can see the combination of 1 plus the 2 money is free in total for your income. And you can see we've got a science symbol and a science symbol there, which are the main currencies in the game, science and money, which you'll be using to buy land, acquire technologies, and avoid these catastrophes as well. You can also see there's a third location here where you can potentially recycle waste if you manage to either add one of these cubes on there, or you manage to move a cube from one location to another using trains that can come out from time to time. So we've got the victory point tracks around the side. We've got a few scoring bonuses from round to round. We've got 5 rounds and then a kind of 6th round where we're scoring. And there is a lot of auctioning going on in this game, but I'll go through how that all works and I'll go through what's going on some of your player boards as well. Now each player is going to have a hand of cards which have been dealt out and they're kind of just hiding out of view. You're going to have 10 science to begin with and you're going to have 10 money. In the backs are all the same, so your opponents can't really see what you have got during that bidding phase. Okay, so we are in round 1, and I've gone with Yellows to begin with. They start in this sort of little circular spot, whereas the other 2 players are there. So they are going to auction one of these land spots. On a free-player game, these ones are populated, and you can see as you go up to 5 players, you can see those are going to be filled as well. So they're going to pick one of these. Now, what have we got on these? Well, it's a combination of either science symbols. We've got money. You can see a bit of a closer up here. You know, science, money. Some of them have sort of victory points, which represent the standard of living. And some have these recycling capabilities, which are going to be very much needed as you try and get rid of a load of this garbage. It's going to work its way into your sort of country and region. So they're going to pick one of these. I'm not going to think too hard. Let's just say this one here. And you pop it on the spot, and the minimum bid for round 1 and 2 is 2 money. And as you go through the phases and the rounds, you can see when you get to round 3 and 4, the minimum bid is going to be 3, and you can see in the last round it's going to be a minimum bid of 4. You can go higher, and they're going to kick off. Then Yellows are going to say 3 money, and it literally goes clockwise. So where are we? Yellows, Reds are up. They're like, right, 4 money. Blues are like 5 money. Boom. It's come back round to Yellows and they're like, that's too rich for me. I am going to pass. Now, if you pass, you can carry on within the auction phase of land. If you don't fancy any of them and you want to just drop out, which is an actual option, you can forgo acquiring any more of these lands and you can instead move your token over here and you can then acquire with science one of these technologies, but we'll come round to that. So where were we? Blues, I think, won it for 5, so they pay their 5 money to the bank and they take this tile. Now, remind you just below, every time a tile is purchased, you move this one along, so you can see it gets progressively cheaper to attain one of these technologies. Now, they're just going to add it sort of next to their region for now. You're going to take one of these sort of population tokens and add it on. And for each tile you take, you're going to be adding a garbage, as you can see here. Now, the first tile you take is 1 garbage. The second tile is 2 garbage. The third and so on is going to have progressively more garbage as you take more tiles in this round. So, who was that? That was Blues. Blues have won that land tile, so they now start the next bidding. So maybe they're going to take a tile to bid on, maybe they're going to pass, maybe they're going to drop out. Now, they're probably thinking, right, I'm going to go for this one, no rhyme or reason, and it'll make a lot more sense why you've gone for certain ones with connections to rail routes and how you're going to move them and acquire more production. So they're going for this one. They've opened the bid at 2. They want to see what everyone else is up to. So we're going clockwise. Yellow have gone 3. Red's passing. Blue is equally going to pass. So yellow have won the bid at 3. So they pay their money. They take the tile. And remember, we move that one on, remind you here. So we put this here and we're just going to add a garbage and 1 population. Now you'll notice on these tiles, some of them have multiple sort of locations. So you can see there's a little town here and a little town here. You don't have to choose just yet where you're going to put your population. We'll do that later on in the upkeep phase. So yellows won that land. They kick off then. Then they're like, you know what? I don't particularly like any of these. I've already got a tile I don't mind. I am going to drop out. So they take their token, they pop it in here, and they get first dibs on one of these 4 technologies. Now, the cost is 1 science. So they're going to look at their hand, they're going to pay 1 science back to the supply, and they are going to take now one of these. Now, what have we got? This one here, 1 time only, you're going to take one of those garbage. You're going to take one of these populist tokens and just put it on here. So we're going to go for that one. It's quite powerful. It means we can put one of these somewhere else on our region to activate more, produce more. Now, other things we could have took, I'll give you a close-up of these. These are institutions. You can see some are going to strengthen your other locations with either science, in this case, or money. They don't actually produce anything themselves. They just strengthen other locations if they are connected. And this final one here is a bridge, and there's a few of these sort of little bridges that you can use 1 time only, and you can manipulate your regions and extend some of these rail networks to actually connect to things. And you also get this little flower symbol. So you can see on the player boards at the bottom, as you get more flowers, your region, your country is more environmentally friendly, and you're going to get more victory points and more capability of points for each land space at the end. You start on 0. If you get the skulls, you're going down and there's pollution, and you're going to get negatively rewarded for that one. So we have gone for our technologies. Yellows are done. Back around to red then clockwise, and reds are thinking, I've got no tiles, I need to get in the mix. I'm going to go for this one. Now, typically, you'd be looking at the specific ones you require to match up to your area. And they're going to open the bid at 4. They really want it. Blue's like, no, am I going to pass and maybe get some of these cheap? Because if you remain in the auction and no one else is to compete with you, you could attain these for the minimum price of 2. But remember, their second tile they are going to take, because they've already taken 1. The second tile is going to have 2 garbage, and the third is going to have 3 garbage. So they're going to drop out now. So they take their token, put it in here, and even though it's actually red's bidding round, Blue have decided to drop out, so they get to take one of these immediately. And Blue is thinking, let's go for some money. So you can see there's a little garbage symbol there. We're immediately going to take one of those. And again, we just sort of pop it next to our region for now. You don't choose specifically where it's going. I'll show you all that in the upkeep phase. So they're equally going to pay 1 science. So we'll pay that back to the supply. And it is over to red then. So they're continuing bidding. They bid 4 for straight. I think it was 4, wasn't it, for straight? So they're going to have to pay that 4. And the reds have acquired a tile. They put one of their populace anywhere on there and a garbage because it's the first one. Back around to them. So they're thinking, right, I can acquire any of these 2 tiles at a minimum bid of 2 because no one is competing with me. And equally, that goes down as well because we purchased a tile. We're going to go for this one here. We're going to pay 2 money. We've got loads of money, so we've spent that one. And how much did they spend on the other one? 4. We should have spent that as well. So we get 1 change. Yet they have now acquired this tile here. That goes down. This just hangs around their region. We add a population on there. And 2 garbage this time. And it's back around to red. And they're thinking, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to acquire this because I don't want the free garbage. So they're going to drop out. And this time they go to this little spot. So they are the last to be bidden on the land, and they're going to be the first in the catastrophe phase. But firstly, they have to take one of these technologies at 0 cost, which is great. Maybe they're going to go for a bridge just to demonstrate what that does. And you can see you're going to go up on one of the environmentally friendly ones here, the flower. So they're now, at the end of the game, they're going to get 4 victory points there. And that's one time only. They're also going to get a bridge, so we'll pop that on there for the upkeep phase. Now, none of these land tiles or technologies will remain. They're all going to get replenished. I'm just going to remove those out of the way. And everyone is now ready to go into the catastrophe phase. So what's going to happen here? You can see, depending on the player numbers, I'll sort of get closer up here. You can see if you're playing with 5 players, you're going to be avoiding these particular columns. Now, you're going to be bidding using science to either completely avoid this catastrophe, or you might be picking up a garbage, or maybe you'll pick up some garbage and one of these nasty skull symbols, and they vary from round to round. So reds are at first, and they're thinking, right, I want to avoid this catastrophe. I don't want more garbage, so I'm going to go and bid 5 science. So you can see it goes from 0 up to 25. The next player's up in clockwise order. What we got? We got blue, and they're like, right, my options are I can bid higher than the red player in that column, or I could go to this next column here and just pay 0. I'm happy paying 0 and getting 1 garbage. Yellows are up, so they have a choice to go higher than red, higher than blue, or they could just go to the end column for 0, but they're not going to do that. They're going to come in, outbid the blue player with 2. It then comes back around to red. No one is ahead of red, so they don't have to do anything. Back around to blue. Now, someone is ahead of blue, so they have to move. They can either go higher than red, higher than yellow, or they can come over here for 0. So they are going to go up to 4. Back around, and where our yellows have now been overtaken. So they're like, this is too rich for me. I might not even have that amount of science. So they're going to go 0 here at the bottom. And once you're in a position where no one is ahead of anyone else and everyone's got a unique column, that's the end of the catastrophe. The red player is going to pay their 5 as science, and they have just about got enough. You start with 10 at the beginning. So they have avoided this catastrophe. Blue is paying 4 science, and they are going to get 1 garbage. Now, you add this garbage just to sort of the new tiles that you have put in play, and I'll go through that in a minute. Yellow then has paid 0 science, but they are going down 1 spot on here, so they're currently -3, and they're getting 2 garbage, which will be added to the new tiles, and that'll all make sense in a second. And I should have added another garbage to that one there as well, because I had a little icon. So everyone has done catastrophe. Now, you then move these back over here, ready for next round. Whoever faced the full wrath of the catastrophe will be going first, so a little consolation, and everyone else is there. This one is removed, and we'll be placing a new one shortly. And we now go over to upkeep and using your technologies. And this can be done simultaneously. And I will start off with the blues. And so they've acquired these 2 tiles, and they're going to have to add these to the previous one. So you can see you can either place it adjacent, and you can hopefully match up some of the railways, or you can place it at a corner if you really want to, because maybe you've got something else that wants to go there. Now, you have to keep the garbage you've attained this round on the actual tiles you've acquired. Now, you notice institutions have acquired garbage, but you never actually put garbage onto an institution. It's kind of something that develops other tiles. Instead, this garbage is going to have to go on my only other tile, so it's going to have to go on there. Now, if you didn't acquire any tiles in the round, then you have to put your garbage on your existing ones, and you can distribute those however you wish. So this particular tile then has got 3 garbage. I now have to pick where am I going to put this actual population. There's only 1 town there, so it's going to go there, which is going to generate me 2 money and a recycling capability. Now, I am going to... I've also got this institution, and I want to make a load of money. So let's put this one here, and this tile just up here. And that one had all the garbage on. And I will show you how that'll all work in a minute. So that's our upkeep. We haven't got any technologies. I can't remember. Yeah, we bought an institution instead. So we'll come round to production and figuring out all that in a moment. Over to reds then. What we got going for reds. So reds are going to... So this is the garbage they acquired on these tiles. Why did they get an extra one? I cannot... Oh, yeah, it's the second tile they purchased, wasn't it? So these guys are thinking, I'm going to connect this one up here. And you don't have... You can turn these any orientation. They just have to be adjacent or at a corner. And you don't have to connect up to the railways. So we could put that there. And you'll notice that this technology, I can use this bridge. And it's probably difficult to see from there, but I can connect this town to this railway by using that bridge. Now, the bridges can't traverse across two tiles. They have to be completely on one tile. And there we are. We've connected that one up. I also have to choose where I'm going. Now, the garbage, it's not specific to a certain town, shall we call them, but they're on that tile, they have to remain there. And I have to pick where this populace is going to go. So we've got two locations on this one. Am I going to go for 2 money and a bump up in standard of living, which is basically victory points? Or am I going to go for the science at the bottom and the money? I'm going to go for the one at the bottom. With this one here, we've only got the one town. Excellent. We'll leave that as is. And we've utilised this bridge. Once it's done, just move it out of play. And you can't now move that bridge if needed. Okay, over to the yellows then. What have we got? So we've got some garbage we're going to have to add from this population. We can then get rid of that. It's one time only. You don't get to use that from round to round. And we're going to add now all of this new garbage. It's going to have to go on that tile we've just acquired. And we're going to connect this up here. And we're going to put our little population on this one here because we want that recycling capability. But we equally have another populace. And where we're going to put it, anywhere on our region, maybe this top one, maybe this one here to do a bit more recycling. I think we're going to go for the recycling just at the moment. Okay, so everyone has used their technologies. Some technologies can be used from round to round. Others are one-time use, as you've just seen. We've done our upkeep. Now we are into production and recycling. So production then. Let's look at the blues first. So we can see anywhere we've got populace, we're going to figure out how much income we're getting, how much science, and how many victory points, if any. So this town here has got us 2 money and 1 what we got? Science. So we're going to just start back off at 0 just to show you how all this works. The best way to do it is as you add a tile, you just move your production as you go along. So this town here, 2 money, but we've got an institution and it's connected and there's nothing in the way. So that's actually going to give us a bump up of 1 money from here. So that's free income. So we're going at free income. Excellent. We're also going to go up science there. This location here is 1 money and 1 science. This location has nothing on it, it's just recycling. This one at the bottom has got 2 money and it's connected to this institution, so that is now worth 3 money as well. And we've got the recycling capability. Now, this money, let's just say this town here had only science symbols. It wouldn't do anything because this is just bumping up the matching symbols that are on the next available town city. So we now have a production of 7 income, 2 science, and we've got no victory points on our particular board. Over to red zone. Now this is all simultaneous, so red zone. Let's just start on 0 to show you what's going on. This is important because as you maybe have trains that can come out, you can move these tokens. You have to be really careful as to what your production is. So we'll start at the top here. They are producing 1 science. We got 1 money. Then this location is 2 money and another science. This one here is 1 money, 1 science. And then we've got 2 more money, a science, and a victory point as well, which is the standard 11. Okay, they're done. Over here, what have we got? So we have 2, I'll start from 0 just to show you how this works, 2 victory points. We have got the starting setup of 3 money there and 2 science. Excellent. Now, everyone knows exactly where their production is. They're going to get paid out. So these guys are going to get 3 money and they are going to get 2 science. And this is kept secret. They're then going to get 2 victory points as well for yellow. So we just go up around the board and that is them done. Over to the reds, again, all simultaneous. So they are getting 6 money this time and they are getting 4 science and they're getting 1 victory point for reds. And over to blues, who I know have 0 victory points. they're going to get 7 money and 2 science. And that's vital because you're going to need that science to avoid catastrophes and buy these technologies. You're going to need money to give you the best chance of bidding on the tiles you require. So we're resetting them. We're going to there for a free player game. We're going to reveal some more tiles as the host for the 1s and 2s. And you can see we're bringing out 5 more in a free player game. We're also getting some technologies. They're the same. You've got a deck of 1s and 2s. Not all of these will be coming into play. Okay, and we're also bringing out a new catastrophe. Here we go. So we know what's going to happen. So we can see we've got various lands. They're going to get better as you go through the game. We've now got a train in play, which I'll hopefully go through. Another train. We've got more flowers to go up on your environmentally friendliness. We've got one here that's a hospital that's going to give you victory points when it's connected to towns that produce victory points. And we've got a park. It's one-time use to go up the track. And you can see as you make your economy more environmentally friendly, you could potentially get up to 34 points or potentially minus 28. So yellows are up. We'll do one more round and I'll show you how these scorings work. So yellows are going to bid on this one here, a minimum bid of 2. And we're going reds. They're like, I'm not wasting my money. They're passing. And blues are like, 3. Yellows are 4. Yellows win this for 4. So again, they take one of their populace and just put it anywhere on there, and 1 garbage for the first tile they've acquired. We move this down 1, and yellows are up again, and they're like, you know what? I really, really want one of these technologies. I am just going to drop out. So yellows are over here. They're going to pay 2 science. Boom, they've paid that, and they really wanted this train and bridge capability. So they take that. They take one of these bridges. Now you can see the white line typically is one-time use. There's some grey ones that show you that it can be used again and again, as you can see by the trade. So once per upkeep phase, this train will allow us to move one of these citizen tiles. And it has to be obviously connected to a town through a railway network. And we'll hopefully give you a demo of that one. So yellows have dropped out over to reds clockwise. And they're thinking, okay, I'm going to go for this tile here. And they're going to bid 2. Blues are 3, reds are 4. And reds are like, blues are like passing. So reds have acquired this one. So they get one of their populace, they get one of these garbage, and they got one of these down. And their first dibs again, and they're like, I am equally going to drop out. So reds come down here, and they're going to take, let's say they really wanted a train as well. You can see on this train, we've got a flower symbol. So reds are going up here, and they place that there, and that can be used once per upkeep phase. Over to blues, they've got, the 3 tiles they could potentially take. So they're going to take this one. They're going to pay a minimum bid of 2. They pay that to the supply. This comes down to 0, and blues have now acquired that tile there. We're going to pop a populace on and 1 garbage. And they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go for another tile. Pay 2. This comes down again. They'll just keep this by their supply. And they're going to get another 2 garbage on this time. So you can see 2 garbage, another populace. And they are going to drop out after that one. So they're over here and they're going to be first because they were last in the auctioning of land. They're going to be first in the catastrophe. And they're going to pick one of these. Maybe they're just going to go for this park. One-time use. They're going to up their environmental friendliness. Done. We'll get rid of these and we are over to the catastrophe again. Blues are up first. Now blues, let's have a look how much they have got in science. Now I probably didn't spend it correctly on the last round. Or did they? They had 0. I can't recall now. So let's say they're going to go 6. They really want to avoid these. And clockwise, yellow are up. They're like, no chance I'm going 7. Red's like, I'll happily take 0 for that one. Or maybe they're like 3. Back around to blue because they have someone in front of them. They're like, this is too rich for me. I'm going to have to go 0. No one has anyone in front of them. So that is how the catastrophe has ended. Yellow are going to be paying 7 and they've avoided it. Lovely. And they are going to go back here. Reds are going to pay their 3 science and take 1 garbage. And we go back up here. Blues are going to be going down one here. So that whole park they just built is negated. And they're going to get one of these garbage as well. But they will be first in the land phase. This comes out. And we go round to upkeep and technology. So we'll start with yellows this time. It's, again, simultaneous. So they're going to add this to their board. So let's just say, they put it this orientation here. And are they going to put a bridge out? No, they're going to save that from round to round. Are we going to use one of our trains? Maybe. We're going to pick where this populace is going to go. We're after money at the moment. And we're going to move one of these. No, we're going to keep them. Are we going to move that one? We'll keep that one there. Oh, I think I forgot to show you recycling on the last round. How did I forget recycling? Okay, dearie me. I missed recycling, which is massive in the game, but I'll give you a demonstration this round. Okay, so they have done their upkeep, which is basically adding your tiles, and their technology's done. Over to reds, then. They've got one tile to add, and they are going to add it any orientation they want on a corner or adjacent. Let's just go here and not think too much about it. So we're going to place that populace on there. We've got the one garbage. Now, we did acquire 2 garbage from somewhere. Catastrophe, wasn't it? And they have to put that on the tile or spread it across tiles they've acquired. They only acquired 1, so that is getting all of the garbage. And they could do a movement as well. They really need to start recycling here. So maybe we're going to move this location here to this town, which means we've forgone a science. We've gone down to science. We've gone down an income. And we added this tile here, which actually went up another science. We've gone up a victory point. And I better go back to these guys here. What did they add? I think they added this one. So they're going to go up 3 money. 1, 2, 3. And I think we're good. Over to blues then. So blues only bought 2 tiles, didn't they? And if they add it to this one, which they can't, there's no more connections off, unless they manage to acquire one of these bridges in the future, which means if you did put it, say, here, they could use this bridge to connect there. Maybe they could connect up to this one if it went here, if they wanted to acquire more income. But we haven't got a bridge for now. So this one, we're probably thinking, I'm not thinking too hard. Let's just chuck it here. And we're going to chuck this one here as well. Okay, and which town are we going to pick? We're going to go for this one here, which is going to add 2 to our science, 2 to our victory points, and we've got the 2 garbage on there. This one, we're going to go for the science as well. So we're going to go 2 science. Okay, so you can see you don't have to reset it all the time. You just add it on as you add the tiles. Okay, so that was upkeep, and we've used our technologies, I hope. Now we're going to production and recycling, most importantly. So production, everyone just takes these. Yellows are getting 6 income, 2 science, and some victory points. So you'd add all those on. The blues and the reds, you can see, blues are getting 6, 7 this time. They've got loads of science going on here. And they're getting some victory points. And where are we? Reds. Yep, you can see what they're getting. Recycling then. How's this going to work? So you can see, we'll go with yellows first. Well, we'll go with blues so you can see closer up. Now, have they got one of their populace on a recycling centre? No, they've only, what do they have at the top here? So when you've got a recycling centre which is activated, they can remove, during an upkeep phase, one of these garbage tokens, either from the spot it's on or an adjacent spot, as long as it's connected by a rail network. So at the moment, they're just going to take one of these garbage, done. And so they couldn't, on the next round, take one from here. They could take one from, Nexton. There's no garbage on an institution, so a bad spot to place that. This one here, it can't take one of these when it has someone on it. Let's say, for example, it was like that, because it's not connected by the rail network. So just be very mindful as to where you place them. Over to reds then. So have they got any connected? They've got one connected here. They've got no pollution, well, no garbage on the actual tile. But it is connected now through this bridge to this location, so they can take one of those garbage. Have they got any more recycling centres? No. Over to yellows. They got one recycling centre in play. They got no garbage on that tile, but they are connected to this tile adjacent, so they can remove one garbage there. They've also got another recycling centre, so they can take one off the tile itself. Everyone's done their recycling, and I accidentally missed the first round recycling, which would have been important. It would have taken more cubes off. And basically, at the end of the game, you want to have these locations without the rubbish because you're going to be scoring victory points. And I'll go through all that momentarily. So we're done production, we're done recycling. It's the end of the round. So where were we? We've just finished end of round 2. Now you can see at the end of round 2 and the end of round 4, there's going to be some bonuses. This particular one is basically wherever you are on the victory point track, you're going to double it. So if you're on 5, boom, you're off to 10, which is nice. You may be working hard to eke out the standard of living, which is victory points from your economy to make the most of this. At the end of the round 4, it's going to be 2 victory points for each location as a recycling plan that's occupied. And you're going to score victory points depending on how far you have gone up your income track there. Okay, so we have completed round 2 and you reset it like normal. You're going to bring this one back, populate the technology tiles, put out the land tiles, and you keep going. Now, basically, when you get to round 5, that is the last round. And you're then going to sort of half around round 6, which is where you have the opportunity to do an upkeep phase again. You are going to, recycle. You're going to use those technologies one more time, which might be crucial because you want to move one of these trains. You want to use a train to move one of these locations, so you can maybe recycle more. You're then going to end the round and you're going to score up all of these bonuses here. So what bonuses have we got? Firstly, each player is going to look at how much science they have in their hand, not the production. Whoever has the most science is going to get 8 victory points, second 5, and depending on how many players, you're going to get 3 points and 1 point. You're then going to do exactly the same for the money in your hand. So whoever has the most money, again, 8 points, 5, and so on. You're then going to score victory points based on the tiles you have in your region. So currently, if a tile is empty, let's say it's near the end of the game, you're going to have obviously a bigger region than this. I'll go for the blues because it's a better closer up. So let's say at the end of the game, these 2 tiles are empty. Blues are looking at where this marker is. If you're really environmentally friendly, you're going to score 4 victory points for each tile that is free of garbage. So they get 4 points for this, 4 points for this. Institutions don't score. They're not the same as land tiles. Now, if you have a location, it reminds you on the board with just the 1 garbage, as we can see here, that is kind of neutralised, so you're not actually getting any points for it. If you had nothing, it'd be 4 points for blues, and it's 0 in this case. Now, for each extra garbage that is on a location, so I'll give you a demo with this one. That's going to be 4 points. That's going to be neutralised. That is going to be -5. That's going to be -10 and -15. So it's -5 for each extra garbage that's on a location, which is why you need to recycle them. You will then score points based on where your token is on this track here. Obviously, if it's up here, you're going to get 19 points there. Maybe it's 0, maybe it's 10. So not only does this determine how valuable those tiles are, so 4 points for each tile, 3 points, 2 points. You're going to be losing points if you're down here and gaining points there. And basically, whoever has the most victory points is the winner. Now, a few things to note. If you don't manage to attain any of these tiles, you get compensation. Maybe we've been outbid by everyone, or maybe you just wanted to leave early to get all these technologies. And it's always +2 to the minimum bid. So you can see it'd be 4 money here if you didn't acquire a tile. And that is pretty much it. So you have to be really careful over, the adjacency of these tiles. Are they going to go on a corner? Which rail networks are going to connect up? How are you going to utilise these bridges? And when you get to round 3, which we would have been going into, you will bring out this spot here, which you can see reminds you of the bottom. Replace that on that, and our minimum bids are going to be free each time. You will also bring out new tiles for round 3 and 4. So it reminds you of the minimum bid, and they generally give you more more victory points, more money, more locations to go to. So a host of goodness on there. And eventually when you get to round 5, there is more going on with the 5s as well. And the minimum bid is then moved over to a 4, and you can see the amount of signs you're paying as well for these technologies goes up. Equally, the technologies are going to get better. You can see there's a host here. You got some with, turning once per upkeep phase 3 of these science into one of those flower symbols, more bridges, more workers, more parks. You can move garbage. You got those institutions. So loads going on here. And you can see the 5s as well. You can take garbage from any location. You can add trains. You can turn money to get rid of those garbage, money into VPs, bigger hospitals. So all sorts of things. And not all of them come out. So the auction is fantastic, folks, in this game. It really is crunchy decisions as to the timing. Are you going to acquire just the one? Are you going to go and wait till everyone else is gone to get those technologies? You can acquire all that land at minimum price. Or are you just going to drop out and go and get one of those technologies? You've then got this fascinating use of catastrophes as to how much science you are going to bid. So there's a lovely puzzle effect there as to what to spend, when to spend it, and then don't even get me started on the location of these tiles here and how you're trying to figure out the efficiency of which is connected to where, how to use trains to move things, how to use these institutions here to maximize the cities next to them as well. Now, yes, it all looks a little bit beige, but the gameplay really keeps you on your toes, especially me playing a free-player run-through here. So, yes, it all just flows really nicely. Some nice stuff going on. Yes, it's not the world of variability, in these tiles, but you're really trying to eke out what you can do for your little mini economy here and manage the flow of money and science as you try to avoid these catastrophes and you try to outdo your opponents to get the right land, make the most of these bonuses. So a lot of fun to be had here. There we are. Enjoy.